Grab a pen and paper or some way to take notes, because by the end of this video, if you implement everything that I tell you, just a couple months from now, you could be hitting your first 10 to 20K per month. You aren't successful yet. You've been trying various different side hustles, whether it's trading, e-commerce, freelance brand scaling, whatever it may be, but nothing seems to stick. Or maybe you're working a 9 to 5 right now, and like everyone else, see all these people online making hundreds of thousands of dollars, living a completely free lifestyle, time-wise, location-wise, and financially. And you just want to be a part of that. And regardless of who you are, if you're watching this video right now, that means you want to be successful at making money online so that you can achieve complete time, location, and financial freedom, allowing you to do whatever you want, whenever you want. 2 years ago, I was in your position. I was working a normal high school job at a fast food place making $400 every 2 weeks. And then I started focusing on high ticket sales. I learned and mastered the skill of selling. And now 2 years later, I've been able to scale to over $15,000 per month at 18 completely from my computer. And I want to summarize those 2 years of experience into the next 45 minutes. So if you are serious about making money online, I'm going to show you the exact strategy I use to break into high ticket sales and scale to over $15,000 per month. Throughout the rest of this video, I'm going to show you exactly what high ticket sales is, the progression through it, how to fast track it so you don't have to spend 2 years making mistakes over and over again like I did, and the exact framework that I use to take appointment setting calls, which got me to where I am today.
So what is high ticket sales? By simple definition, it is selling a product that costs $1,000 or more. So a high ticket product or service is something that is expensive, right? So a private jet would be considered a very high ticket product. And so what we're doing high ticket remote sales is from your computer at home, you're hopping on calls, phone calls, you're hopping on Zoom meetings, and you're selling digital products or services for other companies and creators, and you take a commission. So if TJR is selling a mentorship that costs $10,000 and you close a deal on that, you hop on a Zoom meeting and you close them in 30 minutes, you are just going to take 10% of that. You get $1,000 for that 30 minutes of your time. You don't have to fulfill any product or anything like that. And that's the beauty of high ticket sales and why it is the best money making model in 2025, right? There's no work beyond the sales call. You take that sales call, you close them for $10,000, you take $1,000 in commission, don't have to do anything else. You don't need to fulfill any service, you don't need to hop on any more calls with them. All you had to do was hop on that Zoom meeting. It gives you uncapped income because it's commission only, right? So if I can close 3 $10,000 deals in a day, that's $3,000, right? And if I learn that skill and I get on a company that's selling a $50,000 ticket, then it's $5,000 a call if I'm making 10%. And so you see where I'm going with this, right? It's something that is very scalable, right? So you also are going to have a lot of freedom to create your own schedule, right? It's not a 9 to 5. You're not going to hop on a high ticket sales role where you're selling for an offer and they just tell you, okay, you have to work 9 to 5, right? They'll tell you they might want you to work a certain amount of hours, take a certain amount of calls, but you get to create your own schedule. Any week you'd be like, oh, I'm going on vacation. I might only be able to work this amount, and you're fine. You're able to go on vacation. You can work when you want. You can work where you want. And the beauty is that your job will never get taken away, right? Salesmen are always going to be needed. It's one of those industries that AI just can't take over. Every single business is going to need you. Anyone selling a $4,000 to $5,000 product, can they hop on hundreds of sales calls every day? No, the CEO just doesn't have time to hop on all those sales calls. And sometimes they also don't have the skill set to hop on those sales calls and close deals at the highest possible rate. So you are wanted, right? These business owners want really good sales reps. So sales is used in every single business. You're wanted as a sales rep. You can make uncapped income. You can work just from your computer. You can work anywhere in the world. It is the best money-making model in 2025, easily. Now, there's an abundance of these offers and creators that need you, right? Every single fitness coach, every single person that's talking about making a lot of money online and selling their info, their coaching programs, etc. Every single person that runs a software agency that is selling to other business owners, they all need high-ticket sales reps, right? And so you are needed. There is never going to be a time where you aren't needed. And so what is high-ticket sales versus what is it not, right? So a lot of people think going into sales that it's going to be one of those things where, oh, I just got to spend an hour a day on the beach taking a couple calls. I got my headset on. I'm just an hour a day, super easy, make thousands of dollars every single day. It's not that simple, right? It is going to take long hours of learning the skills of advanced questioning and sales. It's not as easy as telling them about a product and someone's just going to buy it, right? Because you can imagine someone coming onto a call with you that's just interested in solving a problem, getting them to invest thousands and thousands of dollars in those 30 minutes to an hour, it's not easy. So it's going to take a lot of hours of learning the skills of advanced questioning and persuasion. And it's helping people realize a change they need to make in their life with the service or product that you're selling. So people think that selling people is kind of evil, that it's a bad thing. When I say the word sales rep, do you guys think of someone that's actually trying to help you or trying to sell you for their own personal gain? 99% of the time, people think that salesmen, like car salesmen, are just there for the commission, right? But in high ticket sales, you're actually helping someone, because if a 400-pound person was signing up for a fitness program, right, they might come into that call thinking, oh, well, I just need to drink more diet soda, go on some walks every day, right? But you and me both know that that's not going to make them lose over 200 pounds, right? What they really need is someone giving them the exact diet they need to follow, being held accountable, being told to go to the gym for X amount of time every day, doing certain regimens, everything like that. They need that. That's what's actually going to lose them that weight. And so a lot of people don't realize the change that they need to make. And throughout their entire life up until that call, they've been conditioned a certain way, to think a certain way, and they're going to have resistance to such a big change in their life. And so in high ticket sales, you're not just selling people to take a commission. You're helping people realize they need to make a change that's actually going to positively impact their life. So I like to think of high ticket sales as actually a way that you're helping people. You're changing other people's lives while changing your own with the commission you're making. And so it is by far the most reliable way to hit 10K a month online. It's not something that's up and down like trading. It's not something sketchy like OnlyFans management. It's not something like ecom where there's so many different moving parts. You learn sales, businesses need you, and you sell. You can easily scale to 10K a month online. Now, what is it not, right? Like I said earlier, it's not a 10K a month income stream with 1 hour of work every day. And it's not like that car to door-to-door sales type of sales, right? It's a lot more than that. But learning such a difficult skill is going to put you in a position to where you have infinite time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. And it's not an unsustainable skill, right? This skill will carry with you for the rest of your life, right? Not only selling for other people, but later on, when you want to start your own business, let's say your own training or something like that, you're going to know this skill of sales that is going to apply to any high ticket business you start. And also the skills you learn in high ticket sales are going to make sales for starting your own smaller business and all of that much easier. And it is not pushing products we don't believe in, right? We're not just selling to rip people off and scam people. We're selling products that we believe in. I only sell products I personally believe in because I actually want to help people. I want to make sure that when I sell them on that and I objection handle and I really push someone to buy and they buy, that they're actually going to change their life with it. And it's also not a stress-free way to transition out of the 9-to-5 rat race. If you're looking for a very, very simple stress-free way to just click a couple buttons and make thousands and thousands of dollars, A, you'll never find it, and you definitely won't find it here. This is something that's hard. It's not easy, right? But if you're really serious about making a change and making a lot of money online, watch the rest of this video because I'm going to show you exactly how. And so, why are high ticket closers needed? I talked about this a little earlier, but not only is there a high demand for skilled high ticket remote sales reps, but it's a rapidly increasing industry. Right? The info product space and the online business space just recently started growing with high ticket. And it's only going to keep growing. You see more and more people popping up with courses and info products, which means not only are more people getting into that space, but multiply that significantly and you get the amount of people that are needed in the high ticket sales space. Because a good coaching program that comes up, they need over 10 sales reps at least, right? And not only do they need sales reps, they need skilled ones that can close deals, right? So you are definitely needed. AI can't take over. AI is never going to take over face-to-face personal connection. They just can't do that, right? And like I said earlier, business owners have a limited time and they have a limited mental capacity, right? So if they're running all these different parts of their business, right, which is taking up a lot of time already, do you think they have the mental capacity to handle all these different people that are interested and all the stress of that. No, and they definitely don't have the time for it. So that's why they need you. And so I like to view this online coaching and service-based business as Bitcoin in 2009, right? You invest your time and money into this, and you really push for this, and you make this work. You're getting into a skill and a space that is like Bitcoin 2009. Like, it is about to go crazy over the next 10 to 15 years. Now, there's two primary roles in high ticket sales. You have appointment setting and you have closing. Appointment setting is, I like to say, like that high school, college basketball, versus closing is like the NBA, right? You have to go through appointment setting first. You have to learn how to do that, right? It's the entry level skill, right? What appointment setting is it's qualifying a lead and setting an appointment up between them and a closer, right? The commission is between 3 to 8%, whether it's like sometimes DM setting roles or something like that. But the 5% is the standard. This is what you'll see on almost every single place that you work as an appointment setter. Meaning, if I were to set an appointment to a closer, so I qualify the person, go through the entire process that I'm going to be going through over the next 30 to 45 minutes. If I qualify someone and I give them to a closer and the closer closes the deal, I get 5% of the total amount. So if I hopped on that 10-minute phone call, right, and I sent them to a closer and the closer closes the deal, like, it's out of my hands after that. Then for those 10 minutes that I spent on that phone call, I get 5% of the deal. So if they closed a 10K deal, right, you got 5% of that, you got $500 in your pocket for that 10-minute phone call you had. And so appointment setting is arguably the quickest way to scale to 10K a month, because you can easily, once you're good at appointment setting, become a closer or just become an insane appointment setter and get to 10K a month. Now, high ticket closing, this is where the commission goes to like that 10 to 20% area, because it is much harder. You're hopping on longer calls, face-to-face, much more high pressure and stress, and it's much more advanced sales, because it's easier to get someone on an appointment to change their life versus actually get them to pay thousands of dollars to do so, right? So the closing call, which is what a high-ticket closer does, is sealing the deal. It's collecting that payment, it's onboarding them, it's actually finishing the sales process, right? So this is where you have that capacity to reach like 100K a month even, right? You can get way up there with closing. And like I said, it's the next step from setting. And so I'm going to be going over appointment setting through this call. There will be other YouTube videos going over closing, but appointment setting is what I'm going to be teaching here because it's a lot simpler to explain. You realize it gets pretty advanced, and so you can imagine closing is going to be even crazier. So what does appointment setting actually entail? So once you are giving an offer, right? So you're on an offer, you're working for a company, you're going to be given warm leads, people that are interested to call. So people that have filled out some sort of interest, they want the mentorship, they want more information about it, etc. And so on that call, you're not just qualifying them, making sure that they have money to invest, etc. Right? There are 3 things you need to do beyond just financial qualification. And that is, you need to create logical certainty, you need to build emotional certainty, and like a gap. So what I mean by a gap, which I'll go over more later, is going to be a gap between where they are now and where they want to be. So everyone is in a certain position when they're coming onto that call. So using that fitness coaching example again, right? They're at 400 pounds. And not only that, they can't play with their kids. Their wife won't sleep with them anymore. They can't do a lot of things. They're in a painful situation, right? And we're building a gap between there and where losing that 200 pounds is going to get them, which is called their desired state. And so that's, okay, I'm 180 pounds. My wife wants to go out with me then. I can travel. People respect me more. My kids respect me more. I can run around with them, etc. Right? So you have that gap. That's emotional certainty. Logical certainty, this is just, they logically realize they need to make a change. Like, to get to where they want to go with their weight loss journey, they're going to need to make a change with something like a fitness program. And then you need to build urgency. Why do they need to make that change now? Why not push it off for another month? Why not do a little new year, new me? Once 2026 comes, I'll change, right? We need to build urgency of why they need to do this now, right? We do these 3 things. We make sure they're financially qualified, they're logically certain about a change, they're emotionally certain that they need to make a change, and they build urgency. Then when they get on that closing call, they're primed and ready to close, right? Because now it's like the closer just has to bring these things back up to the front of their brain when they get on that closing call, introduce the solution, and then they'll close. If you do a great job as an appointment setter, you're going to increase your close rate and make a lot more money. And so let's go over the framework of how a setting call actually works. So first things first, you're going to have your intro. Now there's a lot more that goes into this intro than just saying, hey, this is so-and-so with XYZ company, right? So think about every time that you've heard a salesperson in your life, whether you've walked into a car dealership or even just into a high-end clothing store or something like that, right? It can be any of those. It's pretty simple. It's like, oh, hey, welcome in. My name's John. How can I help you, right? Or someone who calls you is like, hey, Brom, it's Ethan with XYZ company. I just wanted to give you a call because I wanted to see if this is going to help you, right? Like something like that. But no, that's not how we're going to do it with high ticket sales. We're going to try and match the person. So if you're selling an info product and you're talking to mostly people of the younger age group, like 18 to 25, and those people that are into online money, and it's a guy that you're calling, right? I'm going to approach it as like, yo, is this Josh? Hey, man, it's Brom with XYZ company. How you doing, right? Why do I do it this way, right? Maybe sound like, oh, that doesn't sound so professional, but that's not the point. We want to lower their guard, because what happens when you feel like you're being sold something? Your guard goes up, you start analyzing what they're saying, and you don't tell the truth, right? You start thinking, how do I have to answer because it's a salesperson? I don't want to get sold. Naturally, humans are afraid of getting sold. So we want to match the person, because where do they hear that type of tonality? They hear it from their boys. Yo, do you want to go grab some drinks, right? Yo, what are you doing this weekend, right? Like, that's that tonality that they hear from their friends. So I want to kind of sound like their friend too, because they're going to lower their guard, and they're going to be willing to answer my questions throughout the rest of the sales call. So that's, for example, like an info product. But if it was, let's say, more B2B, I'm selling marketing to brick and mortar businesses or just like roofing companies that do word of mouth sales. We're like, hey, is this John? Hey, man, it's Brom with XYZ company. How you doing? Right? I'm being just, you see how my tonality shifts based on the person, but I'm still very casual. I'm sounding like the people around them. I'm not sounding too much like a salesman. So that's how your intro should look there. Then I'll say something like, oh, saw you filled out that form for XYZ to get some more help with ABC. Did that ring any bells? Right? So let's say I was selling fitness training for someone named Simon, right? I saw you filled out that form for some more fitness training from Simon to get some more help with your weight loss journey. Does that ring any bells? Right. You see how I'm now introducing the point of this call, right? This is just setting the tone of like, okay, this is why I'm giving you a call though, right? Now, I might do something like here is like, yeah, I had a couple minutes between meetings, blah, 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 but that's some more advanced concepts, right? All I'm doing here is I'm setting the interest, basically, saying this is why I'm calling you, right? This is what we're here to talk about. And I'm saying something like that, ring any bells, right? Because 99% of the time they know what they did, right? But it's just to get them to confirm, yes, I did fill out that form, right? And a lot of times what they'll do if you use that tonality is like, that ring any bells? Yeah, I've been wanting to lose weight and I've been struggling. Like, they're going to say something extra more than just like, yes. So this just opens it up to get like a confirmation. Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to jump into a section called logical certainty. This is where we go from the intro. Now, logical certainty, the purpose of this is to get them to logically realize that to actually lose that weight, or to actually increase their commissions in sales, to actually become a profitable trader, they need to change their approach to it. And that's going to be with your service that you're selling. So how we set this up is we start off with, cool, what have you been doing to, and then the purpose of this program. So I might say something like, okay, cool, what have you been doing to increase your commission so far? Okay, what has your approach been to losing that weight without Simon's help, right? And so I'm just getting them to talk a little bit about what they have been doing. What have they been trying, right? How long have you been doing that? Okay, and how's it going for you, right? This is getting them to paint me the picture of where they're at, right? Because if they tell me I've been doing it for 2 years, it's going all right. Oh, all right? Not where you want to be? No, I mean, I'd want to be making a lot more commission. I've just been really struggling. Okay, so now I know that with their process that they have in place right now to increase their commissions, to lose the weight or whatever, it's not working, right? I know it's not working. Like, it's not getting them the results they want. They've been trying it for 2 years, right? And so if they say it is going well, right? How's it been going? It is going well. Oh, nice. So you're seeing some good results, right? Sometimes they'll say yes, right? This is a situation where we're like, oh shit, they're seeing good results, right? Well, we need to make them realize that these aren't the results they want. Because if you really think about it, they filled out a form for more help with this. If they were seeing the results that they really want, like their dream results, would they have actually filled out that form and been interested? There's no way, right? There's absolutely no way. So then I'm going to ask something like, oh man, so you're seeing like 100% the results that you want to be seeing? Like, you wouldn't be wanting to increase your commissions more? Like, you're there? They'll say no there, right? And I'll be like, okay, well, what brings you to XYZ company? What brings you to Simon to help you lose the weight then? And then we'll go from there, right? But I'm getting them to tell me, like, yeah, their results aren't what they're looking for, right? Even when I ask this question, well, what brings you to Simon then for some more help with it? If you're getting the perfect results, they'll be like, well, it's not exactly where I want to be, right? And now you've broken it. You've broken in, right? Now, if you ask, nice, you seeing some good results, and they say no, they're not seeing good results, then we're going to take it over here, which is the same place we'll go when they say they're not getting that, like their process isn't going well, right? Once we get them to say no, they're not getting good results, we're going to this, right? Which is like, oh shoot, man. Like, well, what makes you say that? And so that way they just told us they're not getting good results or they don't like their process. They're now going to talk a lot about how the results they have right now and what they've been doing isn't good. We're getting them to really paint us a picture of why stuff isn't working for them right now. This is just getting them to sell themselves through our questioning on what I'm doing right now isn't working. I need to make a change, right? Now, I'll ask one of these two questions, kind of depending on the offer, right? If this is more process-based, right? Let's say you're selling business-to-business marketing services, right? I'll say like, okay, so if there was anything you could like change about the way you're getting leads into your business right now and the revenue it's generating, what would you want to change, right? Now they're going to say like, well, I'd want to be getting a lot more booked appointments so I can close more deals and make a lot more money, right? That's more like that B2B type things, right? But now when they say, oh, not good, that's when I'm asking something like, okay, well, what brings you to XYZ company, right? I'll ask you something like that. Okay, well, what brings you to them now, right? So here, if you ask this already, right, I know this is kind of confusing, but let's say they said yes, they're getting results, then you're asking that question, what brings you to XYZ company now? Then you're going to here, right? But when they say no, they're not getting results, right, then I'm asking that question now of, well, what brings you to XYZ company now then? Emphasis on the now. That's what we're getting out of them, all right? Because obviously they're coming here to get more help, right? But, well, you can add some context even. Like, oh, so you've been kind of sticking with this kind of weak process to losing the weight for the past 2 years, not getting the results you want. We've been around for 2 years, man. Well, what brings you to Simon now to get more advanced help with losing that weight, right? So I'm using context from earlier too. So you'll see basically the process is if they're not getting good results, right, then we are going to be going through this, just that simple process. What makes you say that isn't going well? Okay. Well, what brings you to XYZ company now? If they say they are getting good results, I'm going to get them to explain to me that it's not the results that you want to be getting, right? Just pushing back. Okay, well, if you're getting the results you really want, why are we here? Why'd you fill out the form? Now they're going to tell you reasons why, right? What brings you to us now, right? Now we're going to get into digging into their response. So this is where we want to extract the need for change, right? So they're going to answer this question in both routes. Well, what brings you to XYZ company or person now? And this is where active listening comes in, because this is where it can change on a call-to-call basis, because everyone's going to have a different reason, right? So we're going to dig into this, just probe into it, right? Let's say if you were selling a trading mentorship, they might say something like, well, I just want to be more financially comfortable. Oh, do you not feel like you're comfortable right now, right? Like, we're just going to dig into that, get them to explain why now. Like, truly give a solid reason that isn't like one sentence. Get some reasoning out of them. And then I'll ask something more about their results, right? Okay, and what results would you want to be seeing over the next 6 months from now if we were able to make those changes, right? So for this type of question, right, if in like a B2B marketing company, we were able to start running successful Facebook ads and get them their 20 more appointments every month. Okay, so what results would you want to be seeing 6 months from now if we were able to get up a successful marketing campaign online for you so that you can be seeing more appointments on your calendar, right? Now they're going to talk more about the results of like, okay, this is where I want to be with the program, basically, like with what you're giving them. This is what I'd want to see if I could change those things. And then I say something usually along this line of, okay, well, you've been doing XYZ for 2 years. You've been just getting your leads from word of mouth for 2 years, and you haven't really changed your process to see different results. So why make this change now instead of pushing it off another week, month, or even a year? And so I'm bringing back, right, what they said earlier. I'm using what they said earlier to that question against them a little bit of like, you've been doing this for 2 years, not seeing different results and not changing the process. But it sounds like you're not liking where you're at. Why make this change now? Why do you feel like you have to do it now? This is getting more of like the why now, right? So this is that urgency piece that we talked about earlier. Now we're getting into this emotional certainty. Now, we don't want to get into emotional certainty too much in setting. We want to get it. We want to build that gap, like we talked about earlier, that gap between where they are now versus where they want to be. But this is what they're going to be talking about a lot on the closing call. So we're going to dig into this, right? This is a short section creating that gap, like I said earlier, between their current pain points and their dream state. And so what we're getting in this section is the pain they're experiencing now due to their current process, right? And we want to get tangibles for that. So physical pain that they're experiencing. So like, obviously not like physical, like with their body, but like they're watching their mom have to work 2 jobs every single day and not have a life. I can't help her. My family's behind on rent. I can't help them. I'm barely getting by with my bills. My life's getting consumed by my job, right? These are tangible pain points that we want them saying, right? And then we're going to compare it, create a gap to the tangibles they'd get from achieving their goals with XYZ. How would that make them feel, right? So if those were their pain points now, their dream state would be like, well, I'd be able to retire my mom. I'd be able to buy my dream car, move to XYZ place, help my family out, all these different things, right? And so we want them to really paint this picture of where they are now versus where they want to be. And so how we do this, right, is, okay, cool. So what results are you shooting for right now with XYZ company, right, or with trading? And so that's kind of similar to what we said earlier here, right? So you kind of have to go based on off of what you asked earlier in the call too. But we're gonna have something like that, get them to state their goal, right? And now we're just digging into this. Why is that their goal? What does it get them that they don't have now? How would it feel to be able to do XYZ actions that they can't do currently due to their pain points, right? So, like, well, tell me, man, like, why is that your goal? Why do you want to hit 20K a month? And if they give a vague answer like, I just want financial freedom, I'm going to stay curious. Financial freedom? Well, what do you mean by that? Or I'll ask, okay, do you not feel like you're financially free right now? Ask into it, right? No, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Oh, shoot, man. And so, like, living paycheck to paycheck, basically spending all your paychecks on bills and stuff, what is that keeping you from doing that you want to be able to do? I don't get to travel much. I can't help out my parents, stuff like that, right? So I'm breaking into that, like, why is that their goal? Okay, and how has it really felt for the past 2 years being stuck there, not being able to do XYZ? Now they told us why they actually want to do it, how it's felt not being able to get there on their own, right? and so on and so forth, right? And so I'm always going to end this part talking about their dreams, right? Of like where they want to go. So I want to be able to retire my parents, buy this crazy car, go travel the world, all this type of stuff. And then I'm going to slam it down on them. So we get them on this high, right? Of like, oh, I'm so excited. I want to be able to do all this stuff, right? And then we're going to slam them right back down, right? And how we do that is we go, okay, and do you feel like you could get there doing XYZ? So, oh, and do you feel like you could actually get to that financial freedom to help your parents travel the world and all that? Just working construction right now? And you might maybe get a couple raises, right? This is going to create a huge consequence, a consequence of inaction. And so what that does is we've created this gap, right, of their pain points to their dream states. So we got pain, we have dreams, right? We have all of that. And now we end on dreams and they're sitting on this high. And then this consequence question is saying if they don't take action now, they're going to stay right here. And we do it through a question. So they tell us. They literally have to tell you if they don't take action, which in this case is investing in themselves and all that, then they're going to stay right where they're at. And we've got them to realize throughout this call, throughout the question, that where they're at right now is terrible. And so when they say no, because they're inevitably going to say no, as you've gone through this whole call, they will say no, they can't get there. I've literally never had someone say yes. They will say no, I can't get there. And then with an empathetic tone, man, here, I'm going to go like, oh man, and are you willing to continue to settle for that? And now they're going to be like, no. And now you got them, right? They're not willing to settle for where they're at anymore. They need to make this work, right? They're not willing to continue to settle for that, which in that case means now they're ready to go, right? So we've successfully built urgency. We've built a gap between where they are now and where they want to be. We've made them realize that what they're doing now is not going to get them to where they want to be and that they need to make a change. And now the change is going to be booking that next call with a closer to get closed on the product or service. And the last piece we have to go over is financial qualification, right? So this is going to be a lot more casual tone because when you start talking about money, that's what raises that sales tension usually, right? So we have to be very casual still. Like keep that in mind that our casual tone is going to keep them, loose, keep their guard down, right? And so the main thing you want to do is always attach a reason as to why you're asking into their finances, all right? So what I mean by that is like you're going to introduce booking in the meeting, right? It's like, well, judging off of what I'm hearing, we might be able to help you get to those results by doing XYZ. I'd love to book you in for a meeting with so-and-so, whether it's like the offer owner, like it's a smaller offer, or with closers. So you could say, I'd love to book you in a meeting with one of our advisors so that we can make sure this is really a good fit, man. That sound good? And then they'll be like, yeah, they're always going to say yes here, right? They will say yes. Then I'm like, cool. And if that meeting were to go well and we were a perfect fit and actually able to help you get to those results, around how much capital do you have to invest in yourself, right? This is saying not just, oh, how much money do you have to invest, right? Because that's going to raise that sales resistance. That's very upfront. But this is in the case that we were a perfect fit, you were actually able to get to those results. How much capital are you willing to invest to get there, right? And so they're going to usually give you a much better number here. They're going to give you a realistic thing, right? And they're much more open about it. If you have that casual tone and you've built that trust at that entire call, they'll have no problem just telling you a number here. And then I go, okay, cool, man. Again, no golden number. I just wanted to get a sense of where you're at right now, right? This is just saying, okay, we're not looking for a certain number. I'm saying that in that exact casual tone, right? This is just to get a sense of where they're at, right? And now we're going to book the meeting, right? And so booking the meeting's very simple, right? Notes on booking the meeting to just increase your show up rate, right? Is first ask them what time it is for them right now. Don't ask for their time zone because some people just don't know their time zones that well, right? So when you're booking the meeting and you see the calendar on your screen, right? Because you're going to book it in on your own computer, always be like, okay, well, what time is it for you right now, man? They'll give you time. Pick a good meeting time. This is how you do it, right? Because you always want to book same day. You always have to keep in mind that booking the same day is going to increase the show up rate. Giving them that time of like a day or two to just like sit around, it's not good, right? So I always just say, like, all right, man, I'm super busy. Like, we're super busy. We have a lot of people interested in working with us, and we can only work with a couple people. So I do have 2 time slots that opened up today, one at 4 p.m., one at 9 p.m. Which one works better for you, right? Get them on a meeting today. If you absolutely can't say they're for some reason so busy, they have an actual reason as to why they're busy, we book them in for tomorrow. And get them booked in, make sure they get the confirmation, the link, and everything like that. Then we have a post-booking process, right? This is to increase your show-up rate, right? Because the worst thing you get as a setter is no-shows, because you went through all that process and they don't show up to the meeting, they can't close. So I'll book them and be like, okay, so we're doing it on Tuesday at 6 p.m. You're going to be hopping on it with so-and-so. You get the notification in your email for that. Sweet. By the way, Brahm is an absolute beast. Make sure to keep this energy and show him how enthusiastic you are, and I'm sure he'll get you locked in with Simon to get that fitness training, right? Whatever it is. That sound cool? Right? This is for more of like a mentorship or info product. Like, these are for those younger individuals, right? The way I worded this, right? But this is going to be like, okay, the person you're hopping on, he's really important. He's a good guy. Like, you want to hype up the closer a lot. Get them to realize like that's a person that they want to talk to, right? He'll point you in the right direction. He's the person that can actually get you to XYZ results. That's why I'm bringing in their pain points here, right? So we can actually get you locked into assignments so that you can lose that 200 pounds, actually play with your kids again and all of that. That sound cool? Bring back the dreams and pain points. This is going to build trust because you were listening, right? They'll understand, okay, this is bringing it back. And this is making it the last thing they think about is getting to their dreams and pain points, and out of their pain points to their dream states. Because we don't want them to, the last thing for them to be thinking out before getting on the call is finances. That's the worst thing they can be thinking about when they get off the call. So we want them to be thinking about this, right? And they'll be, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and shoot you a text off my personal just so we can keep in touch. Look out for a text from so-and-so too, and reply to him just so that he knows you're serious and excited about this. That sound good? Yeah, okay, perfect. Good luck with the onboarding call with him. God bless. Have a good rest of your day. Whatever outro you want to do there, right? What I'm doing here is very simple. Confirming they know what time it is and they know how to join the meeting, right? Hype up the closer a little bit in that call. Bring back their dreams and pain points. And then let them know you're going to text them off your personal. And then you're going to text them off your personal. All right? So that is the entire framework of how we go through booking a call. We have the intro. We have the logical certainty here, right? We have emotional certainty and gap building, financial qualification, booking in the meeting. You do all of these things properly, and you're going to have a successfully booked meeting, high show-up rate, high chance to close if you have a decent closer, right? Because this is preparing. This is doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the closer, which is what you want to be doing. So that is the entire framework, like I said, and this is the framework I used to literally get #1 on offers doing over $1 million in revenue every single month. So if you use this, you apply it properly, you actually take every bit of information here and integrate it into whatever offer you guys get on, you're going to kill it. You're going to become closers. You're going to get to that first 10K a month.
So you have the information, you have the vehicle to get to 10K a month now. I've told you everything you need to know about what high ticket appointment setting is, how to get into high ticket sales, the progression to become a closer, to make tens of thousands of dollars every single month. And I gave you the framework on how to actually take those appointment setting calls. Now here comes the hard part, actually applying this, taking action, and getting on those sales calls. Because you could watch videos upon videos giving you all the information on how to be the best basketball player possible, but what happens when you actually get put in an NBA game? Would you perform just after watching some videos and taking some notes? Probably not. If I were to throw you in a sales call right now, would you be able to close a $10,000 deal? I guarantee you, you wouldn't. So if you don't want this to be just another YouTube video that you watch, another page that you fill with notes, and you actually want to turn this into a high income skill that you can leverage to make thousands and thousands of dollars from wherever you want in the world, here's how you can actually do it. You can skip through all the mistakes and the 2 years of trial and error I had to go through to get to where I am, and have me personally guide you and train you to ensure that you actually succeed in this, and this doesn't just become another failed side hustle. I created an inner circle of just a few people that are highly motivated, working directly with me and my head coaches to turn this skill into one that's making them tens of thousands of dollars every single month. When you join, you'll be working directly with me and my head coaches, holding your hand until you're making thousands and thousands of dollars every single month online with high ticket sales. I'm going to give you the proven scripts and frameworks that you can plug and play that I personally use to collect over $1 million in high ticket deals. And you're going to be given a community community to surround yourself with that's like-minded, that you can practice with and grow with. Not only will we directly train you to become the best high-ticket appointment setter, we will then train you on becoming the best closer possible. So not only can you scale to that 5 to 10K per month with setting, but to that 20, to that 30, to that 50K per month that you're really looking for with closing. So again, if you really want to take this serious and you feel like this might be the way for you to actually get out of that 9-to-5 cycle and finally see some success online, I'm going to put a link in the description to apply to work with me directly in the Inner Circle. So this is your moment to stop guessing, stop dabbling, and to stop letting that comfortable mindset keep you from taking the step that you've been avoiding towards your future success. So apply to work with me. We'll talk. We'll see if this is really a good fit. And if it is, I'll see you in 2 to 3 months from now making 10 to 20K a month.